This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Hi there, welcome to another edition of the AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. And during this month, I am going solo, so letting you to tap into my brain, my background of expertise, and where I share ahas and insights and lots of tips to enhance and support your book and publishing journey. That one of the things that we're going to be doing today is really kissing on a topic that I've written a book, but haven't actually done a podcast for several years on it. So I thought, let's do a revisit, because I've had discussions with several authors about, is crowdfunding right for them? As a reminder, if you're on Twitter, you connect with me at My Book Shepherd. And if on Facebook, how about joining the book publishing group, with Judith Briles, the Book Shepherd, that group, to share any news or ask questions and keep the dialogue going. So we love to see your news so we can support and cheer for you. So let's get started. Crowdfunding. The book that I wrote was the Crowdfunding Guide for Authors and Writers. And although some of the illustrations of companies, and we're going to talk about Kickstarter today, we'll mention GoFundMe as well, that some of them actually are out of business. And this is when crowdfunding, everyone is jumping on the bandwagon. Yeah, we can do this. We can go here. We can go there. And of course, they fizzle for a lot of reasons. There is a reason why Kickstarter is the gorilla in the crowdfunding. And they've always been very direct, very focused, what they do and what they don't do. So we will come back and touch more on that as the program goes on. But I want you to imagine, let's go into like eBay. Imagine an eBay type of website for investing and donating, where you can log in and browse causes and businesses and ideas, inventions, you name it, and find something that might appeal to you, even someone else's book idea. But what about your own? Imagine creating your own spot on that site where all those browsers, those voyeurs, can discover you and do a happy dance to see that your book project, your publishing project, is absolutely exactly what they were looking to give, magic word, give, donate some money to. The monies can be given as nominal as $5, or it can go for many thousands of bucks. The contributor becomes part of your community, and over time sees the impact of his or her donation investment. I mean, how cool is that? So think about this. How would you like to fund your book project? Now, the project could be the creation of the book. Maybe pay for the editing cost. It could be for the manufacturing, which means the printing. It could be part of a marketing or a PR project. Not too long ago, I participated, supported, cheered on a already created book, but they were raising funds to seed a screenwriting ploy and going in that direction, right? Now, other people's money, OPM. We're using other people's money and not having to pay it back. I mean, again, how cool is that? But there's strings attached. There are things that you have to do to perform, to to meet your end of the bargain if people are going to be supporting you and your vision and what you're doing. Crowdfunding at its essence is exactly that, connecting crowds, other people, directly those who need them. And in our case, those of you who are listening in are authors or somehow involved in the publishing field. Crowdfunding websites offer a hassle-free way to find, vet, support individuals, companies, and in some causes, organizations, or contribute and invest without having a middleman, i.e. a bank, kind of qualified in doing all this. It's really very personal and impactful, and it gives you direct access to information and opportunities that were once the exclusive domain of people in the know. Today, many, many, many thousands of authors have funded their entire book project using OPM, other people's monies. So it's amazing how every $10 eventually adds up to many thousands, the difference in getting your book done and in hands and not. So to be successful, there's homework. And it's important you have to do your homework to determine a realistic estimate of the cost of the project before you even get started. So before you enthusiastically jump in and say, hey, I'm all in, it's important to do a reality. Let's do a come to book talk with yourself. Crowdfunding, trust me, is work. Don't kid yourself. And here's another truthiness. Do you know that this is a deal where you, as the person seeking the monies, want to be in the minority? Because less than 30% of publishing-related campaigns succeed. Less than 30%. That means 70% flunk. You have to do the work to pull it off. There's pre-work in the setup, work doing your campaign period, and then there's post-work at the completion of it. Here's my number one secret. A good idea is what you need. A good book, enthusiasm, and hard work that you're going to deliver to support it. And if you believe in your book and are willing to put in the work, all right, let's go for it. So start with the overwhelm. And trust me, there is an overwhelm here. There is a crowdfunding overwhelm. So there's a lot of costs to publishing today. Oh yeah, you see those things that say, yeah, we'll publish your book for $3.97, $5.97, $9.97. Fill in the blank. It usually ends in 7. But watch that as you go along, and that realize it's going to cost more than a 3-digit number by the time you get done. The odds that you can raise the monies you need are extremely high with planning and focus and perseverance in your corner. And I think that's really important to understand. Now, there's, one of the people I follow, his blog every day, and I bought several of his books, Seth Golden, used crowdfunding to seed and in some cases finance the entire book process. He raised over $40,000 in less than 4 hours from his fans using Kickstarter. Now, here's the disclaimer. He's got a huge, 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 huge social media following. He's known as an out-of-the-box, actually change-the-box thinker. And his previous books have been significant bestsellers. So he's got a base. He does have a base. A lot of times people who go into crowdfunding don't have a big, humongous base like the Seth Goldens of the world. But the odds that you can raise the monies you need are high. It always starts with an idea, and the rest is up to you in that process. So if you're ready to jump in, and I can tell you that one of my clients, Ashley Bratton, is a professional photographer. She had an idea for a book, and she wanted to raise $8,500. The book was called and became and was published Life Before the Lottery, the 30 by 30 list. She was going to go ahead, and she had all these great ideas before she turned 30, that she wanted to accomplish and succeed. She succeeded and overfunded her project for a total of $9,635, and she did it all in 30 days. So think about this. Where can you get $9,600 in 30 days that you don't have to pay back to support your venture? Where can you do that? So there's the work that comes in. And the things that she gave people as a thank you could be for $10. They got a very fun postcard from her. To one of the offerings was $1,500, where they got a wonderful weekend stay in a lovely, lovely bed and breakfast, and kind of a retreat, plus a professional portrait shooting and that kind of thing. And then there are others that nabbed $1,000 slots. But most, and here's this to understand, in crowdfunding, the typical has a range, and it's $45 to $75. So when we come back in one of our segments, we're going to dig into rewards, those goodies that you put together. How do you identify them? How do you go about, and how do you want to do them? So for this, expect most contributions to be under $100. And the average that people seek are in the 5,000 total range. Now, are you going to get all that money? Nope. There's a cost of doing crowdfunding, and you should expect anywhere from 10 to 20% will go to support the creation. The crowdfunding platform is going to take, a good 5 to 10% by the time that there's done. And then you have something where if you're giving them goodies, there's a cost to delivering those goodies. All right, well, lots more crowdfunding. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you? Or another? AuthorU shows you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you will find a supportive and brainstorming community that is connected and creative, no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual AuthorU extravaganza. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. AuthorU is the premier authoring resource in the country, creating community, education, guidance, vision, and success for the serious author. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. Timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted on its social media platforms, and it is free. Discover AuthorU, where authors go to become seriously successful. Join AuthorU today at AuthorU.org.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
So I've mentioned Kickstarter a little bit. We might as well talk about the gorilla. To date, they have raised over $5.8 billion, that's with a B, dollars. Over 200,000 projects have been successfully funded, and they've even done over $1 million as a single project. There over 300 projects have been million. If you ever watched the television show Shark Tank, it is very common for a lot of these prospects trying to get the sharks' attention to say their first round of funding was through a crowdfunding such as Kickstarter. And so that's where these numbers have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger in the overall process. But if you think about it, and here's the interesting thing, that, and these are stats for 2020, they have almost, can you imagine, 20 million people, 20 million individuals just like you, who have gone in and supported other people's projects. Of that number, I think what's very interesting is 30% of them have supported more than one project. So those are, this is the way to get millions of eyes, possibilities toward your project. And again, and you go through that, the stats are amazing in the different categories. So in the publishing area, which is what we're playing with here, but the success rate in publishing is roughly, well, it's actually gone up a little bit over the couple of years. So I mentioned you want to be part of the minority. It's still the minority, but roughly 30%, 34%. So it's up just a little bit last year in 2020, but 34% succeeded in raising their monies. And so that's what they're after. And the amount of money that they were after launch projects in the publishing arena, there was over 50,000 projects requesting monies in 2020. Of that, the amount that they were looking for was in excess of $220 million, and that makes it pretty exciting in the process. So that's where you go in that, and that Kickstarter has some rules. So let's just kind of look at them very quickly, and then I'm going to go through with multiple steps. And I'm even, hopefully, if we have time, we'll end with my cheat sheet of going through. So for Kickstarter, they do so many different things. There are some things that they do not, but they can, as I mentioned earlier, arts and gadgets, events and spaces, ideas, experiences literally can be funded in this area. They absolutely want you to be honest about what you're doing, and they want it to be clearly presented to their audiences. That's the integrity factor here. If it's an invention, they're looking for prototypes. You don't have to have your book completed, but if you do, boy, I would be showing it. But we'll talk about that in doing your ask. They will go after you if there is any misleading imagery. So they check everything out. What's valid and what's not valid. Kickstarter does not support causes. They do encourage nonprofits to launch projects, but they can't be used to raise funds to donate to a charity or a cause. You're going to see the cause related would more likely be in the GoFundMe platform. Any funds that are raised on Kickstarter must go toward facilitating whatever the project is it's being raised for. Their projects can't offer equity, saying, so if you invest in me, you get a percentage back, all right? And they can't have what's considered prohibited items. So a prohibited item could be, like contest. It could be raffles. It could be energy, foods, and drinks. Anything that would have hate speech or encourages violence in it. It can't have booze, live animals, offering financial services, etc. It's not used, Kickstarter is not used for political fundraising, but etc. So anything along the illegal items from drugs to weapons, and that's not something that you need to be careful of here. But once your project's approved, and it's not difficult to get approved with Kickstarter, you're off and running in that arena. Now, with that said, let's get back to looking at some of the other elements that you can see and go along. And I think that let's start with what I call my 4 questions. So these questions you must ask yourself and answer. 1, is my project worth it? I mean, really, is it worth it? You got to be honest here. Does it have a wow to it? Is it another something that's been out for a zillion years and there's lots of them? What's the new unique twist to it? Is it interesting? If you can't honestly say, yes, there is a wow, there is a new twist, it is interesting, then it may be a pass on this. If people like your family and your friends included can't get excited, how do you expect perfect strangers to get excited? Is your book compelling? The concept, the project that you're doing, the storyline behind it, is it compelling? Does it draw people in? I mean, you've got your hat in your hand, you're asking for funds. Is the statement, your description of the book, does it lure them in? People want to know, and here's what's really important, that luring has to be there because they want to know what you're going to do with their money, and you're going to have to tell them what you're going to do with your money. Question number 3, do you think that your crowdfunding project will fund itself? And this is where a lot of authors get in trouble. They're thinking, I just told you, oh my gosh, there's 20 million people who did stuff last year on Kickstarter, and over a third of them keep coming back because they like the experience or the feel, or they like. And I had one person say, I just like supporting new ideas, a little bit here and a little bit there. Right. So then if you have that, if you think it'll do it by itself, I'm going to tell you, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. That roughly 30 to 34% in the publishing arena will succeed. What's the compelling statement? What's the work that you're going to put in behind it? How did those 30+% make it? What made them different? You can't be disillusioned here. You really got to know, where are you going to go there? And the 4th question is rewards. Are the rewards I'm offering people in return for them donating money appropriate or alluring, or are they just mundane? I think it's a good idea to have at least 7, and I would go up to 10 because I'd hold them in a bay in case I need to replace one it's not attracting. And many backers will support you solely on what your book's about. That's a hooray. But others are looking for the goodies. What are the rewards they get? So if for an author, it would be, well, if you, do $25, I will send you, thank you, in an ebook. If you send me $50, I'm going to give you a hard copy and the ebook. If you do 75, what are you going to do? If you do 100, what are you going to do? If you do 250, 500, 1,000, fill in the blank. What can you give with that? Now, remember I said Ashley Bratton, who did her book, Life Before the Lottery, 30 by 30, is that she was a professional photographer. What do you do, or what hobby do you have that you could pull people in and do something there and take advantage of that on that? For example, if I was doing something in my local area, and I live in Colorado, everyone knows I'm a fairly good cook. One of the things that I could do if I was doing a crowdfunding, besides the book and all the other things, I could then cook it up a private dinner cooked by me in my home. And all of a sudden I could goose it up to maybe $500. So and do it for a dinner for 8 or 10, something like that. So you could do things like that. Ashley offered her photography services is one. Now, where did she get the bed and breakfast and also touristy things, events they could do in the location of the bed and breakfast? Well, her parents own this beautiful bed and breakfast. How cool is that? How cool is that? So that's what you're offering. Do any of these work when you're thinking about these rewards? Do any of these things that your talents, your skills, or maybe you have great friends with talents and skills would like to help you out. Could they work with your book project? And that's where you start looking. What can you offer them to succeed? So with that said, I've introduced you to Kickstarter, and that there's others out there, Indiegogo and GoFundMe. Those are going to be your other big ones, but there's also crowdfunding programs for musicians and other types of artists and other types of events. So that's where you would go to the Google and do a search, crowdfunding platforms for, and then fill in the blank. Who are they? What are they? Where do we go? And know where we have that. Now, is there cost? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I always would recommend to you is you think that half of your project, let's say you're going to raise, let's use ones and O's because they're so much easier to multiply, that I would allocate up to 20% or $2,000 of that $10,000 would go to the cost of the program. The Kickstarter, the GoFundMe, they're all going to take a percentage. That would go to the program, and they're all spelled out. Kickstarter takes, it's fee-based, and Kickstarter's program is you have to do it all. It's an all or none program. So 5%, and then you have credit card charges, and you have other things, the processing fee. So 10% is going to go to the platform. The other 10%, I would go to the reward support, maybe help creating the video, fill in the blank, the cost of doing the program. All right. With that said, we will come back and talk about taxes. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing, and it's crowdfunding for this hour.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Discover the power of you and your book at the Judith Briles Unplugged events. Each summer, Judith Briles Book Marketing Unplugged unfolds over 3 intensive days working with just Judith. You get publishing strategies, author and book platforms, book marketing panache and pizzazz, and authoring tools to take you and your book to rock star success. In the fall and winter, Judith Briles Speaking Unplugged includes Judith as your coach and mentor during 2 powerful days. You will learn how to structure a speech, how to create openings and closings, how to find gigs that pay you and sell your books, and you will get one-on-one coaching. Go to thebookshepherd.com and click on the Events tab to learn how to participate at the next Unplugged Workshop event.
Congratulations on getting your book published. The effort you put into your work is truly commendable. But what's next? What will happen to all the knowledge you have worked so hard to acquire to produce your book? Here at TogiNet Radio, we can provide you a platform to keep your knowledge working for you through the power of podcast. The subjects our podcasts cover are as varied as the grains of sand on a beach. From life coaching to military resources to business success, even to the paranormal. We have a place for everyone. To get started on your next step, call Scott at 903-787-5880 or email him at scott@toginetradio.com. That's SCOTT at TOGINETRADIO.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, crowdfunding in the year 2021 and beyond. And why not? Why not think about doing that? And that some people say, but I can't ask my friends for money. If they believe in you, if they support you, they may love to be involved in supporting you and your success and your ideas and your fabulous book. But they may not be able to unless you let them know. So there's things that you can do involved in that. And just you feel them out. And here's why. The secret sauce, the true secret sauce is let's go back to this $10,000. If that's what you think you need, and now that I've told you that you're going to need, you should plan anywhere from a minimum of 10% to I plan up to 20% with my clients, that you're going to have cost related. If you really truly need $10,000, maybe you should be raising $12,000 because that's that extra that's going to take it, cost it. Because if it is going to come in 10% plus another 10%, you're going to be netting, $400 or so after all those expenses come out. So that's going to leave you maybe short. You don't want to be short in that. So think about that. Now, the other thing is on the cost factor is that this money that you receive, declare it as income. I know you want to think it's a gift. I refer to it as a gift, but you're not a charitable. Most people are not a 501c3 of some sort that will allow for a deduction from them and exempt you from declaring it. So on taxes, you declare the income, and now you're going, but oh my God, now I have to declare $10,000 in income. You're going to be expensing this baby out so fast because you're in a production of a book, or you're doing this marketing, or you're doing what, but you've got monies going out the door. It's going to be deductible anyway. So don't worry. Make it easier on yourself that whatever you bring in that way, that's part of your income that came in related to your book. Declare it as such, which actually would make the IRS really happy. And then you start doing all your expense-related deductions with what you're doing. Let's talk timelines. And it's really critical. So pre-launch, I think one of the things that you've got to not do is to say, okay, I'm going to do a crowdfunding in 2 weeks. Well, there's really time. Things have got to be set up to put it together, including your mini website portal presentation on the platform that you chose to go with to reach out to. Now, you also can do, and I'm well aware of authors who have done private crowdfunding, actually all on their own. They just go out to all their followers and fans, and they say, here's my new book. You'll get a personalized copy of it as part of it. If, this is what it's going to cost. And they actually put in the price of the book, or maybe they add on a little bit more, and they raise their monies that way. So then, in effect, they are pre-selling the entire cost run of the book through their already established contacts, a la their email list, and maybe some there through their social media. And I've participated in several that way, where people have just gone direct out and pre-bought the book, and they've started months. We're not talking about a week. We're talking many months ahead. And I was in one almost a year in advance. I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to be updated. And I actually ordered 2 books participated in on the 2 part because I wanted to make sure I gave one as a gift to somebody else who I knew would want this book that I was going to support. So time. So pre-launch. You've got a few weeks is going to be the kiss of death, but family and friends are going to be a core of every campaign. And I'm going to go back to $10,000. If you were trying to raise $10,000, I want you to have anywhere from $300 to $3,500 kind of earmarked to come from family and friends. And you want that group of people to come on board of your public platform like the Kickstarter and do a commitment within a few days. This is so crucial, essential to your success. Because remember those other 20 million out there that are floating around, looking around on that platform? You know, who knows how many are interested in the publishing, but let's say like 30% of those people are interested in books of some way. And let's hope that some of those eyeballs land on your platform, Clever You. That if they see people are already lining up to commit, yeah, I want it, and the rolling numbers are showing, oh yes, they're already 20% to their goal, 25%, 30%, etc. You are far more likely, this is the honey and the bee, the honey and the flies, you are so much more likely to attract other people to participate. So that's part of your game plan. All right, you're going to reach out. You can say, I am so excited. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing this new book on this topic. I'm beginning a series on this topic, and bring in those monies to support. It will take enormous pressure off you. They will be excited. If they participate, they will be so excited. And there may be a time you might have to go back to the trough as you get very close, which I've had 2 of my clients have had to go back because they were so close, but they were 48 hours. And if they didn't get their funding done, they would get none of it. And they offered another bonus reward if they would add to their donation. And that's how we did overfunding. All right. So that's one of the strategies. So here's what you do. Start a list. Who are all your friends? Who are all your relatives? Who are the people you work with? Anybody's in associations, colleagues. How about friends of friends that might be interested? And think of friends who have like big social media followings. They may be willing to put a shout out. I do it for my clients. If someone's in the middle of a crowdfunding, I push it out. Go, 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 go. Support this and why. And then one of the things you're going to do in that building out, and this could start anywhere from 3 months to a year out ahead of time as you start putting this together, is that then you're going to, I would be building what I call a social media campaign, and start writing various, whether it's tweets, posting, sharing, Instagram, pictures, things like that you start doing that. And one of the things I would be really focusing on is building up my email list. So what is it, something that you could offer via your website, not a chapter of your book, but something else? So what kind of cheat sheet could you create, or cheat sheets, if they jumped on board for that? You want to have your book cover, because that's going to be part of it. You're going to have content. There is, on all these platforms, you have the ability to put in content, including a video. And you know what? I do the video, and even your phone, do the video on your phone. No more than 2 minutes. 90 seconds is even better, but please make sure that you tell them what you are going to do with the monies. People want to know. So they don't need to hear, all trivial related stuff. Fun, quirky, always works well. And I've actually supported some crowdfunding, my truth be told, some that supported that the video that the person was so quirky. I'm giving you $25 for your effort. This was fabulous on that. we have those things. Start building rewards and that list that goes on that you can do that. And then start working on your video strategy. So from your launch day to a month out, you've got to have your platform all together, all the content up. Does it look good? Have you added a lot of images in to it? And one of the things I'd always recommend is part of your pre-work is on any platform you look at, is make sure that you do a search. They usually will show you successful campaigns. What do you think made it tick and click? And look at campaigns in your genre that someone who's raising like gaming things always get a lot of attraction. But if you're not doing a gaming product, probably not where you should be looking. Look at comparable projects. What makes them work? Why were they successful? What do you think? What kind of rewards did they offer? So any video update, and this is where you're going to start now building on your social media. I would why not create a press release? What the heck? And then during the campaign, it's going to be focus, 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 focus. And one of my personal keepers is if you never say no, your yeses are worthless. And don't do well what you have no business doing during this 30-day block. And I recommend 30 days. Don't have them open-ended in perpetuity. That I would be really kind of clearing a lot of other stuff up because you're after raising money here. And you want to be as myopic as possible. So you keep growing your network. You're going to have email campaigns going out. You're going to be doing updates to all the people who have already supported. Let them know how you're doing, what's going on. Any added. And in the reward area, when you come to these rewards, if one doesn't seem to be attracting anybody, then maybe take it down and substitute in another. Also, another part of this game plan is that you want to make sure that you have and you could do this in your video. If you overfund, here's what you will be doing with your monies. So give them a little tease, a little promise in that arena, in that. And then as you move along, it gets pretty exciting. It looks pretty exciting with these updates. We'll have some ideas for post.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Are you confused about publishing options? Do you know which printing option is best for your book? Does your stomach flip when you think about selling books? Or do you feel overwhelmed with what to do about book marketing and publicity? Get the answers and much more. Get them and from someone who knows publishing inside and out from both the traditional and independent sides, how to make a successful book. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand and platform, and is a success, a bestseller. It is your choice. You choose. If you want author and publishing success, you want Judith Briles as your book coach. Sign up for her weekly blogs and e-zine at thebookshepherd.com. The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and guide to collaborate with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You do not need more problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and chaos. At times, she has had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher, by a publishing service provider, and sometimes even by the author. If you want author and book success, connect with her today at thebookshepherd.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so this final segment, we're going to review a few things, but that I would encourage you that during your campaign, why don't you make just a short video and you can repost it out there. And this is where you can post on your social media. You can add it to your platform, let people know what's going on, maybe any exciting news, any updates. Always want to tweak your emails. I would make sure that you go to a link shortener like bit.ly or tinyurl or one of the others, that you shorten up the link to your page, customize it if you can, have maybe the name of the campaign on it, and you use that in all your social media push outs. And when it's over, that you want to make sure you announce the results to all your supporters, thank them, of course, and that do a press release. Why not? And announce when your book will be available. And don't use June 1st. I would say summer 2021. I would say fall 2021 or winter 2022. Those kind of things that don't nail yourself down to a date, a single day when you can have a 3-month span to go for. Now, essentials. You need a video, yes. Less than 2 minutes, yes. To include what you're going to do with the funds, where they come from. You need to have content, kind of a little story about, what this is about, what your book is about, what's the pain that it resolved. If it's a nonfiction, a how-to book, or a variation of the uniqueness of the story telling within the fiction area. Make sure that your bio is on there and why you are the expert, the master storyteller to have it. Use photos and illustrations, your rewards. As I said earlier, I think it's a good idea to have about 10 of them to go through, and don't make them sound dull. Have a little fun with that. Start making that list of your family and friends of the friends and friends of the friends of the friends that you can reach out, collect emails, and let them know on that. Set a time limit. I think 30 days. If you're going to stretch it, max 45 on that. Plan on having updated communication. You're going to put together a social media program. So in that whatever you're on, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, fill in the blank, that you're going to have regular postings going up. And this is where you could add your videos, images. You could take a snapshot of what's going on, start building the excitement in that. And this is where, part of your branding comes in, who you are and what you're about. If you have your book cover, great idea to include that in their area of expertise. So I think that what you've got to do is think of this is this is a spirit of collaboration. And you're not just asking for monies, you're asking people to join your journey and share it. And that, remember, you are the star here. Kind of exciting. You're the star. You're creating the book, the project. It's your baby. It's your brainchild. It's your expertise that you're offering unique solutions that go along. Mm-hmm. And that what you're doing is you're giving these potential contributors a sneak peek of your book project. And again, that's where they're doing money. And always, do this also for your video, as well as your written content. CTA, What's the call to action? And say it. Join me on the journey of the completion of my pioneering book on blah, 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 and that. And add more, personalize it certainly for you. So you want to have the written pitch, as I've mentioned before, and going through that. And a great pitch, by the way, is a 1 or 2 sentence blurb that you would find for a hot movie coming up, designed to grab the viewer at once. And, a great resource to go and take a peek at when I do my book publishing unplugged 2-day intensive course. I give everybody, I save them up all year, a copy of the weekly section from the New York Times book review. And they go in because every book on the bestseller list, there has a description underneath it. It is less than 10 words. 10 words to describe the book. Can you do that for your book? Less than 10 words. So that's part of your pitch. Now make sure that you have that on that. And I think it's also, when it comes to rewards, you've got to be very reasonable with your reward prices. Don't offer someone a T-shirt or a mug if you're asking for $100, $500. I mean, really, what's the comparable value here? Now, remember, emotion is always the driving force, so you've got to appeal to it. So anything that you've got, anything that goes out under that $25 is an ebook, a postcard. Anything, $50, you get a copy of a book. So you can keep it running, but make sure that it's, has some value to what they're getting in the process in that. And also, during a campaign, flat lines happen. Have something to jumpstart the tired phase of a campaign, including you, by the way. It happens. So when you hit a slump, what are you going to do? Think about a hot new reward that you've held back on, some kind of a special giveaway to go out to anyone else who is already out there in the process. And I think it's important for you to take pictures of your campaign as you go along. And I mentioned social media. Make sure that you are using hashtags everywhere on all platforms now. Use hashtags that will relate to the type of buyer, supporter, to bring them in normally for your genre, your book, your expertise, your theme, in that, and bring that about. So that if you're using Twitter, there's always trending hashtags. Is there anything that you can jump onto? How about if there's any breaking news? Can you jump onto that? And don't be afraid to ask for your friends and family to retweet once they get something from you. So retweet it out to their crowd and their followers for that. So on this tips for this momentum, it's a final push. We're in your last final days. You're getting there. You've almost got it. In that, this is when you add up to the new rewards, maybe a new reward if they jump in. That when I gave you the numbers, over 30% are repeat contributors, meaning they've contributed once and now they're willing to add to the original amount. That is huge. And it could be the enough to put you over the top and even get you a little bit extra on that. And then there's one other thing. What if you're after the $10,000 and you're at $9,800, $9,200, fill in the blank, you're short. You know what? Get out your credit card and fund it. Finish the funding, because for Kickstarter, it's all going to go away. GoFundMe, it's you have different options. You can go an all or none, but you all can say whenever it's at this point, we could end it and just take out what we have. So decide where you're going to go in that process. Now, I'm a big believer in doing game plans and having those. I'm so visual with sticky notes and Post-its and having those. So the game plan it would start with making sure you know what your story is, who are your family and friends. Write down, this is where you write them down, why you about it, what are the rewards that you're going to have on it, what social media are you going to use, how are you going to communicate during the program with it, do you have any others that would help share your news about your campaign with their people, with their friends, their family. Those are partners. And then again, what you're going to do for your monies, and also, you know, who do you need to help you put this thing together if you do? Who would be in that area? In that. So a quick cheat sheet for you in this process is that don't rush into the campaign. You got to plan. Second, learn the rules of which of the platforms so you play the game right. Study and learn from other campaigns. Look at tutorials that are out there, other successful campaigns. Timing, don't let your campaign be too long. Put a lot of thought and research into your funding goal. What do you need? That video that you create needs to be perfect with your perfect pitch on it. Have that video. There's no exceptions. Review rewards. Are they attractive? Ask others in your circle. Are these compelling? Would you support this? Would this be a lure to attract you in? That list of family and friends is essential. And continuing list building as you go on. Social media will be your friend. And as always, a call to action. Support me. Support this book. It will help children. You know, children will learn this and this. The people in the workplace will learn this, and this, and you'll have all those things. So crowdfunding, you've kind of had it in like 55 minutes of a 101 course of going through. It's an exciting way to do it. There's no reason why you shouldn't be in the minority in that 30% range that succeed, but it takes planning. It takes planning. It takes your vision. It takes your energy with that. And with that, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me today on AuthorU-Your Guide to Book Publishing. Do go to the show page on toginet.com and just click on shows, or go to bit.ly at Book Publishing Podcast. There's over 300 other podcasts that you can listen to. Have a great day. This is Judith Briles. We'll be with you next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.